And I'm going to, okay, can everybody see the presentation?
Maybe what we'll get everybody to do, if you can mute yourself, just so we can't hear you in the background, you can mute yourself by going to the left of the screen and hitting the mute button.
Okay, so I will get started. Today we're going to talk in more detail about Facebook and Instagram. So we'll start off with Facebook. I'll just do a quick overview again of Facebook pages. So different than your personal account, but pages are accessed via your personal Facebook account. They look the same as other parts of Facebook, like your personal timeline, but you see the administration panel when you're logged in. So if you can see my cursor here, you'll see the page, messages, notifications, and publishing tools. As well as on the right side, you'll see analytics for your page. So why use a page? We went over this last time, but just a quick overview again. You can reach out to more people this way. You have the opportunity to utilize Facebook advertising. And you get options such as the buttons that are available, like the Call Now button you can see on the graphic here on the presentation. So the Facebook algorithm is something important to also keep in mind. And so that is what determines the things that you see in your newsfeed. And that would be content from your page that shows up in the newsfeed. And we'll get more into why you want to think about that algorithm when you're considering what you're going to post to your page. So how to set up your Facebook page. In the top corner of when you're logged into Facebook, of the dash bar there, where you see where my cursor is on the graphic, on the far corner, you'll have the little drop-down arrow. It's right near where your security settings and all those kinds of things and where you log in and out from Facebook. If you click that drop-down from the list, you'll see create a page as one of the options. So you choose that option, and then it will direct you on what type of page you want to create. So that could be a whole presentation on its own. So what I did instead is I've set up a blog post at takeyourcreative.com/blog. It's the most recent post, and it talks about the different types of pages and what type of page you might want to set up depending on what your goal is with your page. You can also just Google it. Facebook has a lot of good information as well. So the next thing you would do is you would fill out all the applicable information and the About section of your page. So in the About tab, there's things like what your page is about, a short description, a long description, if depending on what's relevant to you. So things like hours of operation, ways to get in touch, website, that type of thing. You also want to set up your cover photo. That's the large image that's at the top of your page, and it's just like the one you have in your personal Facebook profile. So you want to choose an image to go there, and you may decide to change that image every so often. You also want to pick a profile picture. So in this case, for Chris Carr, she has a picture of herself, and same thing, you may decide to change up that picture every so often to keep it fresh. So those are the main things you want to set up with your page. So posting to your Facebook page is very similar when you post to your personal timeline. So you'd start by typing out, the message and the content. You would add images. As you can see, you have the option for status, photo, video. Now you have an option as well for events or an offer. So those things function very similarly. You can paste a link and you'll get a preview of that link like you can see here. So all that functions very much the same. The benefit to using a page is you have the option to actually schedule a Facebook post in the future instead of posting it immediately. So the nice thing about that is you could work on all of your content for the day or even for the week at one time, schedule it, and then it will post at the times that you set up. So you can have it for every couple of days or every few hours, depending on how frequently you decide to post. So how you do that is you would set up your post as normal, but instead of hitting publish, you can see here in the screenshot the blue publish button. There's a little arrow beside it, and you have a drop down, and there you get to choose schedule. So, and you can also save a draft, which is beneficial as well. But if you choose schedule, this next box will pop up.
And
And on this box,
can you hear me? Caitlin, can you hear me?
yes.
It's Nicole. Somebody is not muted. Her name is Karen Williams. I can't mute because you're logged in under me. If you click on her, right click, you can mute.
Okay. Give me one moment.
Sorry, ladies, I have been trying to lead it. I'll put you in another room for a moment.
I've muted. There we go. Okay. I'm going back to the presentation. Okay. So to schedule your post, you click the drop down beside the publish button, click schedule, and this box here that you can see in this screenshot, this will come up. So what this allows you to do is select a date and time in the future that you want your post to be live and public to view. So as I said before, the benefit there is that you can, you don't have to necessarily schedule or post something right away. You can schedule it for down the road. So once you choose those options, you hit the schedule button, and then it will show up just to the administrator. You won't actually see it. The public won't see it until the date and time passes, and then it will become public. So now we'll go over some tips and tricks for using your Facebook page. The main thing that people usually ask is, what should I post? So you want to focus on strong, visual, engaging content. And let's break that down a little bit. So what does that mean? So visual is probably the easiest one. Visual meaning have some kind of imagery. So even in this post here, which is a link to an article, you can see that this image of the mascara is very striking. You see it right away. It's obvious, okay, what is this post about? It's about mascara. The image conveys that. And it's with the contrast of the light and dark, it grabs your eye. So that covers that part of it. Strong and engaging content kind of run together. So instead of a post, you think of what you post personally, that may be some kind of update, your thoughts, but you don't think about it as much because it's more you telling a message to the world. So when you want to post your page, you want to think more about, okay, how can someone engage with what I'm posting? So you may want to do things like ask a question or pose something where you would like suggestions of people to comment back. Or if you're posting about something that people can talk about amongst themselves, that would be engaging content. Post that content 3 to 4 times per week. So this is certainly not set in stone. It really depends on your audience. But the thing to keep in mind is this is where the Facebook algorithm comes into play. And not every single person will see every single one of your posts anymore, because Facebook is deciding what is important and what is not important, and it is showing your followers just what it feels is important. If you post too many times, then some of your posts are going to get lost because it will only show the important ones to your followers. So the other thing you want to keep in mind is you don't want to post too much that someone unfollows your page because they're seeing too many posts. So that's another thing to keep in mind too. So 3 to 4 times a week is a good guideline. I'm just going to take a sip of water here. Okay, next thing to keep in mind is respond to comments. So even if you can see just a little clip here at the bottom of this screenshot. A lady has commented on this post and said, thanks for this. So normally that would be something you think, oh, great, okay, there's not really a way to respond to her. But Chris Carr, or whoever manages her page, responds with a quick little, you're very welcome, XO. So it's showing her personality, it's fun, it represents her, but it's just a little shout out. And then that person feels that, oh, you know what? Somebody actually cared that I posted this comment. So it's nice for that person to see a response. Definitely worth the moment it takes to post it. So the next thing is to respond to messages that come into your page. So just like on your personal Facebook profile, you know how you can message people directly, a private message? People can do that with your page. So you can't message from your page to your followers for privacy reasons, but they can message you and then you can respond to them once they've opened that line of communication. So When somebody sends you a message, it's a good idea to try and respond as soon as possible within reason. Obviously, if it's in the middle of the night, you're probably not going to want to have your phone wake you up so you can respond to that. But if it's, within a reasonable amount of time, send them back a response. Even if you don't know the answer, something quick like, I'm looking into this for you. Thank you so much for your question. And the reason for that is not only does it let that person know you're attentive to your page and you're going to get back to them, but it also increases your response rating on Facebook. And this is a relatively new thing. So what it does is on your page, or if you see on other people's pages, you'll notice there's a response rating. And depending on how fast someone responds to the messages on that page, the rating shows up and it tells you how quick. So say 100% response, meaning all messages are responded to, often responds within 24 hours, for example. So that is important so that people know you do pay attention to those things on your page, and then they will want to engage with you on Facebook. Once you get going with your page, something to try would be boosting a post. So basically what that means is you're doing a paid advertisement on Facebook. But unlike a traditional Facebook advertisement where you set it up by choosing your content, putting in how much you want to spend, this is a great way to sort of dip your toe in the water a little bit. You can pick one of your posts and click the boost button, which shows up on all of your past posts, and you can decide how much you want to spend. So try something even as little as $5. And then you can pick your target market. So you can pick, people in your area, a certain demographic, interests. There's a lot of parameters you can choose from. And then boost it. And what will happen is that post that you have posted to your followers will now get shown to a new audience. So people who don't follow your page, who then might see it and decide that they want to follow your page because they're now seeing this content. Basically, it's Facebook's way of making money, and it encourages people who have pages to do paid ads and to then want to reach out to new people. So before I go on to Instagram, I'll just say a reminder that we're going to have an actual session just devoted to questions, because this is a lot of content and a lot of new things for some people. So if you can make note of your questions, and then when we do that question and answer session, we'll go through anything that you might be wondering about. So next, we will move on to Instagram. So just a quick overview again. There's more than 80 million photos shared on Instagram per day. You can put a face to your name literally. So what that means is you can include behind the scenes photos and encourage that human connection. So it's not just a product or a brand name, you are a person, and that's so important with this business and what you're doing. So Instagram is a great way to do that. It's fun. It doesn't have to be perfectly polished. It can be a little rough around the edges, and that's what people love about it. You can establish an authentic brand identity. So that goes back to the same thing. Basically, you know about sort of the whole marketing and what you're supposed to say about certain product. Basically, the whole spiel. That part is known. So the whole idea with Instagram and social media in general is that what's beyond that? What's the true person behind that brand and behind those products, and what does it mean? That kind of thing. So, and again, it goes down to this last line as well. It's not just about selling products. It really is lifestyle. It's, about a connection with people through visual, and that's what Instagram does. So setting up your Instagram account. So you choose a username, and you can simply make it, the name of your company, depending on what it is you're creating your Instagram account for. In this instance, it's probably not going to be that, because then you'll have a lot of duplication. So you want it to be something unique to you that could be, just your name, but it could also be something fun along with your name. Choose a profile photo. And traditionally, we suggest using your brand's logo. But your brand in this case would most likely be you. So it's probably going to be a photo of yourself. Maybe it's a photo of you doing something in the lifestyle that you're trying to convey. So if it's something adventurous or fun or something outdoorsy, all those kinds of things, you can convey that in your profile photo. And the important thing is keep it simple, because that image will be very small, especially on a mobile device. You don't want it to be something really far away, unless you're trying to convey sort of a whole overall feel. But, keep in mind it's going to be really tiny. Profile text. So the full name of your business or whatever it is you wish to appear to represent you. So your username could be something, you often see, like in Chris Carr's example, her username would be at Crazy Sexy Chris, but underneath that she's going to say Chris Carr, so that people know that is her, it's her official account, that kind of thing. You can include your website, so that could be the actual link to just your homepage, or we'll explain later how you can use that to run contests and things through your Instagram account. Then you also have your bio. So your bio is limited, as you see there, 150 characters. And this is where you can sort of tell a little bit more about what you stand for, what your business stands for. But it's important, again, to keep it simple. Photo captions. So photo captions, we'll get into a little more when we talk about actual posts to your Instagram account. But there's a few things to keep in mind with that. So there's hashtags, which are like Twitter. So that's where you use the pound sign. And then after that, you put, a certain phrase or characters or words. And this is to make it easier so that people who don't already follow you can find you on Instagram. And it's sort of what we talked about when we did the overview of Twitter, same idea, and of Instagram, where if you use a hashtag that relates to something like healthy living, for example, people who are searching that could come across your Instagram post and therefore your Instagram account. Okay, let's see. So next we're going to talk about how to get involved. So just like with any social network, engage your followers with questions on your posts. So ask a question, ask for comments, suggestions, things like that. That can all help with your posts on Instagram and for getting more followers as well. Use the hashtags. We'll explain how you can use, that's the last point here about how to search for hashtags, but use hashtags on your posts. And then you also use location tags. So for example, if you are somewhere that you're not every day, so not at your office or your house, say you go to a conference, you could turn on the location option and it will tell your followers where you are. And that can be fun too, because other people may see that and be like, oh, you know what, I'm there too. That's kind of neat. And then that, again, further increases engagement. Encourage your followers to tag you in their posts. So the idea with that is that one of the things on Instagram, and that's what the screenshot is here, is photos of you. And it's great to encourage people to tag you in their posts, because then those all show up here as part of your profile. And then you also see that. It also encourages, and when you do that, if you tag somebody else, that encourages them to engage with you and vice versa. So that's done the same way as you do in Facebook, where you do the @ symbol and then start typing in their username. And that will tag that person in your post. So lastly, on this slide, we talk about using search and explore on mobile or desktop. Just gonna take another sip of water here. Okay, so that is what this other screenshot is here. So at the bottom, in this screenshot, you can see at the bottom we have the home button. This is where you actually would do your post. It would prompt you to take a photo or use a photo in your library. This, with the heart here, is for your engagement. So it shows you when people have commented or liked something you've posted. And then the last one is your profile itself. So when you click there, you'll see your profile. The little spyglass here, that's the search and explore one. So when you click that, you're going to be taken to this screenshot here. It allows you to search, and you can see you can search based on all results, or you can just search for people or tags, so hashtags, or places such as locations. So that's where you can try. You can see this hashtag down here, patio weather. So for example, that could be where you'd say type in healthy living or recipes or things like that, and that's where you would find what other people are talking about. And so a great way to do that is to start searching and seeing what other people are talking about, and then you can make sure you're on trend as well. Or maybe there's a special day where they talk about, National Sibling Day or something like that. Those are all kinds of things that you can find out and see, oh, that's what's happening right now. That's what's trending. And then you can tailor your post to go with those hashtags and get further engagement on your Instagram account. So some tips and tricks. Share the brand's goodwill. So what that means is if you're doing things like giving back in your community, share that to Instagram. Because that's, take a photo if it's, you're presenting something you've donated to an event, or even something as simple as you're going out to, if there's some kind of charity race or walk in your community and you're going out to show your support, show that on Instagram. It may seem like it's self-serving or, something along those lines, but people like to see that and they have fun because, again, they may say, oh, you know what, I did something like that last weekend. People like to be engaged and encouraged to share things with you as well. You can create Instagram ads through Facebook to increase the reach of your posts. I'm not going to go into that because it's a whole other thing we could talk about a lot. But if you are interested, if you even Google or search through Facebook or Instagram for Instagram ads, there's a lot of information about that. So if you're a pro Instagrammer, check that out. Try uploading the occasional video. So videos can be between 3 and 15 seconds in length. Sounds like it's not a lot, but it is enough time to convey a short message. And it can be fun because, again, it's another way to show your personality and to convey a fun message at the same time. So Instagram is now bringing into effect the same algorithm that Facebook has. And this is new, so it's been met with a lot of resentment. What that means is it's important to make sure that if you're posting something, you want to have a good message with it, make sure it's strong, and it basically forces people to think more about what it is they're posting, especially if you're posting as a brand or a business or for that perspective. Don't overwhelm your followers by posting too much. So Instagram, not quite the same as Facebook. 3 to 4 posts a week is going more than that is not going to overwhelm your followers. But you don't want to be posting, 10, 15 times a day. It's just going to be too much, and then you may find people are going to unfollow you. Play around with the photo filters as well as no filters on your photos, and see if you can develop a look for your account. You may decide, okay, I'm going to always use the same filter, or maybe I'm always going to have a dark and moody look to my photos, or they're always going to be really washed out. That's kind of, going to be my feel, how it's going to be on my Instagram account. So you can play around with that and try that as well. So that is all I have for this week's presentations. In our next training, we're going to be going over Twitter. So that will be May 2nd at 12 noon. And then after that, we're going to have the question and answer session. So we might have a few minutes now. We'll just check to see it. We could maybe do a couple questions now, Nicole, if you think that's all right.
Yep, we do have a little bit of time, so if you want to open it up, if you guys have any questions for Caitlin on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, just unmute yourself.
Okay.
Anybody? Caitlin, do you have a recommendation? A lot of our team uses just their own personal Facebook page, like their own page versus like a business page. And I know you were sharing about page. Is that what you were referring to? Is their personal page versus a business page?
Yeah, so what I was talking about was business pages.
Okay.
And that was sort of one of the, like we had that question last week. If you're using your personal account, there's no sort of, I wouldn't say stop doing that, but a Facebook page may be a good supplementary thing to do because of the additional options. So with a personal account, you're limited to how many friends you can have. You can only have 5,000 friends, whereas a Facebook page, you can have unlimited number of followers. So it gives you a way for further engagement. You can't do ads with your personal one. You can't boost posts. So those are all things you may want to play around with. It kind of gives you a public forum outside of your friend circle to engage with people.
Right.
So, but a lot of people I know find success with using their personal account, and they may just decide, you know, you may use your personal account for business and that's all you use it for anyways. So, you know, it's not a concern about personal versus business posts. So that's why I don't want to sort of say don't do that, because, you know, it's not, there's no sort of reason to sort of say that it's, you know, not allowed or anything like that. But, you know, a page just may give you some further options. And if you're starting out new to Facebook, you may want to start right away with a page.
Caitlin, I have a question just for clarity. So are you saying on your business or your personal Facebook page that you only do 3 or 4 posts a week?
Yes, I would suggest for both. You know what, you personally could probably do a little bit more. The idea is you don't want people to unfollow your posts, because that happens. People can still like your page or still be your friend, but they actually hide it in their newsfeed. And if you use Facebook regularly, you're probably familiar with that. You may, you know, that person who posts every single thing in their day and you're thinking, this is crazy, but you still want to be their friend. So you unfollow their posts. But then if you're using it for business, they're not going to be seeing those posts anymore, which is not great. So you just want to sort of balance that. Again, 3 to 4 posts a week is not cut in stone. If you Google, you know, how many times should I post on Facebook, you'll see all kinds of different answers. And it changes too. That's what we're going with now with our business customers. But we've modified that over, you know, the last few years as well. We used to post at least once a day, and now we've cut right back down because we found our engagement started to drop. We'd see in our analytics on our Facebook page that tell us how many people have seen a post. And we noticed that some posts were really high, others were really low, because the Facebook algorithm was choosing one post over the other to share. And it was because we were posting too frequently. So once we cut it back, we found that we were getting better engagement, and we're making sure that all of our messages were getting heard and seen by our audiences.
Would you, something I did recently was kind of my week in a few postings. So I put pictures of kind of what I did for that week, because I hadn't gone in for a few days, and I seem to have gotten a lot of hits that way.
I think that's a really great idea. It's a neat way to wrap up the week. It sort of, it's going to give something interesting for your viewers to see, and it's really personal. It's like, this is how my week went. You know, how was your week? I think that's a fabulous idea.
Okay,
definitely
thanks.
a good thing to keep doing.
Caitlin, can I just ask you, oh my goodness. Okay, so when you say 3 to 4 a week, are you saying just on your personal page and not necessarily interacting in groups and posting in groups? Because I do that probably daily.
Yeah, groups are different. Groups, it all really depends on the focus of the group and what the, you know, point of the group is. Certainly, if it's a group with customers in it, you may not want to be bombarding everyone by posting too frequently, but that's a whole different thing. You know, it's really going to depend on what it is you're saying and that kind of thing. And groups are more, that forum is more set up for that type of thing, because your post is you sort of engaging with other people within the group. It's more of like a forum, really, than your page is more you putting out messages to the world. So yeah, it's a different thing.
Right. Like I'll do at least a post or 2 a day on my personal page, and I'm wondering now if that's too much. But I also find that people interact at different times of the day. So sometimes I'll do a post and nothing will come of it, and then I'll do another one at another time, and it just like blows up. So is there anything you can recommend as far as timing is, or?
Part of that is what is happening is the same thing I described. So so the posts that are, it's not necessarily because they're online, because that's the other thing with the algorithm too, is I could post something first thing in the morning, and somebody who's checking their Facebook late at night after they put the kids to bed, they could be seeing that post because the algorithm is saying it's important enough for them to see it. But it's a bit of both. So it could be that they're online when you're posting, but if you look through times of when people are posting and stuff in your newsfeed, you'll know it's kind of strange. You'll see, well, why am I seeing that way down in my newsfeed? I just saw a post that was posted 2 minutes ago, and now I'm seeing a post from 10 hours ago, but it's just, again, it's the way the algorithm is lining it up. But personal, totally fine to post one a day on your personal, because that's sort of expected, right? You're going to do a status update once a day. And as long as it's not too salesy, then that's okay. It's not treated the same way. Personal things are not treated the same way as business page posts are.
Right.
So in terms of suggestion on posting, the best thing is really, you can't track any analytics on your personal ones. So it really is a guessing game at that point. Knowing who your target is, though, it helps. And, thinking of, okay, when will they be online? There are definitely hot spots. So, lunchtime, because a lot of people who work 9 to 5 jobs, will be on a lunch break and they're going to pull out their phone and check Facebook. In the evening, same thing. So after dinner time, whether it is they have kids or not, it's sort of, you had dinner and you're like relaxing, watching TV, things like that. That's another hotspot. And first thing in the morning as well. So as early as like 6 or 5:30 in the morning through till say 8:30, because that's when people are, if they're commuting on a train, they've got their phone, or if they're having a coffee. It's like sort of, coffee and a paper is now like coffee and Facebook or coffee and Instagram. It's checking their social media. So yeah, so it's kind of those 3 times a day, certainly, if you're guessing. If you are able to set up a page or you do any activity with the page, once you use it for a little while, there's all kinds of programs where you can put your URL from your Facebook page into, there's websites where you paste the URL and it will actually tell you when are your best times to post based on your audience, because it grabs all that data.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that it's certainly worthwhile to check that out if you have a page and you're trying to figure that out. But it gives you a little bit of an idea. Those are the 3 kind of hotspots, early morning around like between noon and 2, and then again evening like 7 to 9 p.m. or 7 later kind of thing.
Since this is recorded, this is great for new distributors as well as just to remind new distributors about basic rules on posting on your personal page, which is we don't want you to sell. We don't want you to put your website on. We don't want you to be blabbing Juice Plus. We've been seeing it a lot lately on some of the mature distributors. They're putting their website link. And we were talking with Caitlin about it, and she agreed. People do not want to be sold. They don't want anything shoved down their throat. And leaving a website or even putting a video on really is pushing our product or a program. So follow some great leaders on social media like Michelle Ball or Megan Rabi. They're really good at posting some pretty powerful stuff, and it really just comes down to sharing your heart, sharing what you're up to, like whether it's that healthy lifestyle or maybe you get some results, but make people curious in your post and maybe put some fun, inspiring stuff on hashtag. But we just have to get that message across with our distributors, is not to sell on Juice Plus, but to have an emotional connection to your audience.
I think we've only got less than a minute, so I have a feeling the meeting will probably end very shortly. So
yeah,
thank you very much. Any questions, keep note for when we do that Q&A presentation. And next week, May 2nd at noon, will be the Twitter presentation.
Awesome. Great. Thanks again.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.